Max Verstappen's chances to drive for Mercedes in 2026 have been reportedly shut down by Toto Wolff, and the Dutchman didn't keep his mouth closed. Although the circle has been narrowed in terms of Verstappen's choices if he were to leave Red Bull, the Dutchman gave a pretty clear hint about his future in F1. Could we see him move out of the Austrian squad if the new regulations turn out to be a disaster for Red Bull? And more importantly, is this the chance for Aston Martin to step in? There's definitely no doubt that Mercedes and Verstappen have created the biggest fuss in the world of Formula One. But now that seems to finally be squashed. The team principal of Mercedes, Toto Wolff, said that the direction he wants to move in with the new regulations is with Russell and Antonelli. This is a direct closing of the door for Max Verstappen. And although there weren't direct indications that the four-time world champion was going to move to Mercedes, it was still something that kept the entire F1 media on its toes. Now that Wolff has finally addressed these rumors, we can see how big of a change might be waiting for us after 2026. But in the first year of the new regulations, I don't think we should hope for major changes. Elaborating further on the direction of Max and Mercedes, as well as the saga that's been ongoing for quite some time, Wolff said, "Discussions have been taking place over the last weeks and months, so they're all up to date. The direction of travel is that we want to continue with George and Kimi. That's the first priority. You can't look past someone like Max and the plans he has for the future. We did that, but I don't think there will be any big surprises." All of this was prompted by the plain data that showed that both Wolff and Max were at the same time in Sardinia, Italy. And it looked like a bombshell of a move was going to happen literally at any given time. However, with everything that's going on right now, I highly doubt that Wolff would pursue Verstappen anymore for 2026. But that's not the end of the story. We'll get right back to this. But first, let's see what Max had to say regarding the denial of opportunity that Wolff made in public. "Well, I was swimming in the ocean at the time. I don't really care about those things because I went on holiday with my friends and family. And when other people are also there at the same time, that can happen. I mean, there are more people on the island than just me and Toto and the family. If you go to the same island, that can happen. But then again, this doesn't solve the mystery as to where Max is going to drive in the foreseeable future. As of now, it looks like from 2026 onwards, the Dutchman will leave Red Bull unless something extraordinary happens and he loses 18 points to Russell in the next two races. This would drop him to P4 in the Drivers' Championship, and it would automatically allow him to activate his exit clause. But now that he knows Mercedes is not interested in him, or at least they're saying it publicly, and Aston Martin is committed to their lineup in 2026, will either of these two teams commit to a move? Addressing the worries about 2026 and what the new regulations are going to bring, Verstappen has gone on to say, "There is also the possibility of not waking up tomorrow, and so there's no driving at all. Life is unpredictable, and in general, I'm happy with where I'm at. The target was that when I signed my deal, I would drive here until the end of my career." What's also interesting is that Max was adamant that the sacking of Horner had nothing to do with his decision to think about leaving Red Bull, because he's focused on finding more performance on the RB21 and potentially getting back into the Drivers' Championship fight. Still, the technical expertise in Red Bull is lacking, starting from Pierre Watch and Enrico Balba. Red Bull did clean house, with her being the latest piece to drop, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's much to be done here other than Verstappen fully focusing on the first year of the regulations and seeing whether this team could be his home from 2027 onwards. When talking about how Horner's departure impacted him to think about the future and whether it changed the atmosphere under the new management, Verstappen said, "Of course, when there's a change like that on the first day, people are a bit like, okay, what's happening? But luckily, I think on the day, basically the day after the announcement, I was at the factory doing my simulator stuff, and you just go back to work. We have to work on performance, setting up the car here, and making sure that everything is correlated in the best way possible. And yeah, you just focus on that, because at the end of the day, that's my job." So, let's think about the worst possible scenario for Red Bull and Max. The Austrian team fails to build a competitive car, and they end up in a midfield or in the back of the field, depending on how bad the engine seems to be. From the initial reports, the belief is that Red Bull powertrains will be the weakest link on the grid with Audi. But when you have Verstappen in that car, I don't think you could say that they're going to be without any competitiveness. Nevertheless, I don't think this is going to happen. And that's also the belief of Martin Brundle, who spoke to Verstappen directly about the matter. The F1 pundit felt like the changes in 2026 won't happen, although that's not a guarantee for 2027 or beyond. And, elaborating more on this, Martin said, "I think the conversation that Verstappen and Wolff held was part of what was going on. But on Thursday, Max was like, it's all about having a fast car. I just want a fast car. And I think Horner's exit means he'll now stay. I'm certain he'll now stay at Red Bull for 2026 and see what happens." A conversation I had last night seems to confirm that. But the performance is not exactly diabolical, is it? All of this is hinting towards the fact that Verstappen is going to patiently wait for 2026 to end and see where his chances stand. Right now, I don't think there will be any chance for him to compete up front, and we'll highly likely see number 33 return in 2026. But if Red Bull and Ford fail him with their powertrain, then there should be nothing left for Max to stay for. Loyalty has a price, and if the Austrian team's not ready to pay it, then they need to be ready to see Max leave out of his contract. After all, he's won 4 championships with the team. The first one being the legendary battle against Hamilton, while the last one was in the 3rd fastest car on the grid, something that hasn't happened since 1983. With all of this in mind, what do you think about Max's comments about Toto Wolff's denial of the contractual talks from 2026 onwards? And more importantly, do you think that Ola Kalinius will pull rank and try to go behind Toto's back in order to try and sign Max from 2026 onwards? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.